Okay, hello today YouTube. So, I know that I've done some videos on, well, mainly the Series X here. So, I figured I just did a review on the Series X the other day, and I just kind of wanted to go ahead and do a little bit of comparison and tell you my thoughts on if the Series X is worth buying new right now or waiting for the next generation of the Series X, meaning like the Xbox One has the Xbox One X, and there's Xbox One Pro, all these different Xbox One variants over time. This is the first generation Xbox One and the very first iteration of the Series X. So that's what it looked like when it first came out, and this is what the Series X looks like when it first came out. So I figured I'd do a little bit of comparison, see if it's worth upgrading or not. So both of these are shut down. I haven't used the Xbox One in quite a while. Since I've had the Series X, obviously I haven't used it, but I'm just gonna go over kind of the outside looks and design. And I'm going to throw in Halo, the Master Chief Collection, and just kind of show you guys the differences in graphics. Not that there's a ton. I mean, there is and there isn't. I'll let you guys see for yourself. My camera does not do it justice. This is a brand new TV. It's a Samsung Smart TV, 50-inch. It's brand new, and this TV is it's got 4K. It's got everything that you could want on a TV. So that definitely helps the systems graphic-wise. So starting on the outside, the appearance. First of all, I love how you can stand the Series X upright like that. I do enjoy that, where as the Series X, you can do that. The Xbox One, you're kind of keeping it flat. I'm sorry about being so dirty. It's been in a closet for a while. It hasn't been cleaned or anything in a long time. I believe there was a way you could get a stand and stand it upright like that. I believe there was a way of doing it like that, but I never did that. So that's kind of what it would look like standing on its side, but obviously I think it's more meant to sit flush on the ground like that. The fan, I know it's hard to see from trying to get you guys an angle so you can see the circle. Pretty much the circle is about right there, give or take. It's about the size of this disc, actually. It's like, now take the size of that disc and just add like out to about right there. That's about how big the fan is on the Xbox One versus the Series X, which again you can't really see, but you can see how much. I know this isn't an accurate thing, but you can imagine like taking that size fan off of this, and the way it's designed. So this is blowing in one side, and it has to blow out here through the vents over there and over there. Meanwhile, this one just has the vents right under the top, which is really nice. I just prefer the looks of that and the way it's designed. And yes, you can put this, sorry, bear with me. You can put that on its side like that, but I honestly prefer it standing up. But that's just my preference. So, other than that, for appearance-wise, there's the fact that you have to have this massive power brick for the Xbox One, and that's for all iterations of the Xbox One. You had the power brick, and they had that for a 360, and I believe the original Xbox, you had to have this power brick, which meant a cord here, went around and plugged in next to the HDMI port. Then you had a second cord that plugged into the brick that went around and plugged into your power outlet. So that was always getting in the way. It was kind of, it had a little light telling you when it was off and whatnot. I mean, it was just kind of annoying, and a lot of people hated that when the Xbox One came out, myself included. But the Series X, thankfully, took a page from Microsoft and decided to get rid of that. They got rid of this, and now it is just, I'm sorry about the mess of cords here, guys, but now it's just this one cord here. It plugs into the back, just like so. I know it's dusty back there, I haven't cleaned it today. Then the cord just plugs right into your outlet. So that's always really nice to have. So that in itself might be a reason why people want to upgrade. It's just easier. It looks better, in my opinion. I mean, it's still a box, hence the name Xbox. But it honestly, to me, looks better. You don't have to deal with all the extra cords, and that's just an extra HDMI cord. But From looks wise, I think it looks better. It's smaller. You can fit in more things. I mean, that one you can lay it down outside and fit into this uh, TV stand. This one I can put it on its side as well and fit in there. It'd be a little bit bulkier, but it would fit. I just think it's better when it's standing, so I prefer it like that. I prefer the bigger vent. It keeps it cooler. It's a lot quieter. The Series X is a lot silenter. That's not even a word. A lot quieter than the Xbox One. And again, this is the very first generation Xbox One. This is the very beginning when they first came out. Like, I got this within like 6 months of when the first Xbox One came out. So this is old. Don't get me wrong, this is old. So obviously it's going to be a little bit noisier than the Series X. So it is older, and it does make a lot more noise. It has never overheated on me, but it has ran pretty hot when I've left it running for updates and stuff along those lines. The other things I want to just say before I turn these on is the controllers. I want to just go over that really quick. I did a review of this controller. I compared it. This is the Xbox One, actually. My bad. See how easy it is to get them confused because they look so similar, especially to the camera. This is the Series X right here. And I did a comparison of that versus the old Xbox 360 controller. So, here is the Series X. Right there. Series X. Xbox One. And what, in my opinion, is one of the best controllers ever made, the Xbox 360. So, we don't really need to look at this 360 controller. I mean, you can just see how different it's... You can kind of just see the difference in designs. It went from this one being smallest. It looks, design-wise, it's like the smallest. It's like kind of narrowest and everything. But it feels bigger and bulkier in your hand. It just feels better to me. But that's just beside the point. That's a 360 controller and the cat, obviously. Go on, buddy. Go on. So, sorry about the cat interrupting again. He just wants to help. So then, that leaves these two main controllers. And starting off with the Xbox One, I never realized this until just now. When I first got this Xbox Series X controller and I was looking at them, feeling the differences, I didn't think there was much difference at all. I didn't really feel like this one was all that different, all that improved. After playing this controller for the last several months, on shooter games, all these types of games like Halo, Call of Duty, racing games, and then I picked this up just now for the first time in like 6 months. I picked this controller up, and my God, it's so different. The feeling, the grip on this controller is just, it fits your hand so much better. And it's so much more universal to hands. Like, there's my hand, and then there's somebody with a hand that's like, you know, like a couple inches bigger than mine. It will still fit really good, or even an inch smaller than my hand. It'll still fit really good and feel really nice. This one feels nice, but it's just nothing as good as this. And the vibration on this thing is good. Again, nothing as good as the Series X. This is just it's a lot bigger of an upgrade. It's subtle, but it's such a big upgrade compared to the Xbox One. And I think it doesn't get as much respect as it deserves, because the Series X doesn't have as great of a controller as the PlayStation 5. According to some people like it better, some people don't. I guess it's your preference. I prefer this because I don't like the way the PS5 handles and feels and vibrates and everything. That's just me. But the differences in this might look small. I mean, I'm trying to show you that it is a little bit smaller. You can tell it's a little bit smaller. And I just like the look. It's flat black versus this glossy black, and it's all one shade. It has a share button, making it easier. The D-pad's a lot nicer to feel. The analog sticks, I believe that's what those are called, feel a lot better. And just this thing feels so much. And again, this is a first generation Xbox controller. This is the very first one, Xbox One controller. So I mean, there are newer versions of this, but they're all virtually the same. So, anyways, that's enough about the appearance and the look of the controllers. Let's go ahead and fire up the Xbox One. Now, I already did a little comparison before I started this video. This Xbox One takes substantially longer to start. So bear with me. It takes probably like, I don't know, like if the Series X takes, let's say 30 seconds to start, this takes about a minute. That's just, I mean, that's not exact times or anything by any means, but that's the chime for that one, by the way. So let's just go ahead and see how long it takes. Still hasn't kicked on. It should be all connected. I don't think I unplugged anything. Oh, it was unplugged. My bad. I did not have the HDMI cable all the way in. That's my bad. So, it's been about 15 seconds since I turned it on, give or take. It's been about 20 seconds now. 25. I'm just timing it so we see how long it takes. There's 30. That's 30 seconds. This is 35. And there's 40. So we're at 40 seconds. It's going to probably be about 50 seconds. There's 45 seconds. Here's 50 seconds. 50 seconds on the dot is how long the Xbox One took to start. So keep that number in mind when we get the to the Series X. 50 seconds. So that's just, I don't have internet connected. So let me turn on the controller here. And the controller does take quite a bit longer to connect to. The controller flashes about 4 times, I think it was, whereas this only flashes 2. So even that's faster, but let's go ahead and just throw in Halo. Now keep in mind, Halo, the Master Chief Collection, this one, is updated on the series, on the Xbox One. It's fully updated because I had time to update before I... Well, it's not fully updated, but it's a lot more updated than it is on the Series X. So there are subtle differences because the Series X is playing an older version of the Halo. This is playing a newer version, so that kind of goes for the benefit of the Xbox One, but we're still going to just throw it in. And the disk drive on this is starting to wear out, so I'll show you what I mean. It won't just take the disk in. There, it went in. Sometimes it gets stuck. But we're going to go ahead and click on Halo. And of course it doesn't want to connect just yet. It'll just take a minute for it to... Now I just had this Xbox turned on about 5 minutes before I started this video playing this game. So there shouldn't realistically be any problems. Of course it doesn't want to work, so I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. I just was playing Halo on this Xbox One a few minutes before this video. And now it's saying because I don't have internet. I didn't have internet connected the first time either, but yeah, it's not gonna cooperate. I'm sorry, guys. I was gonna just show you a comparison of the loading screen times, but that obviously doesn't want to happen for whatever reason. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. It doesn't want. That's what you get for not updating, I guess, or anything over a long period of time. So, let's just go ahead and take that on out. So, that's pretty much it for the Xbox One, sadly. I'm sorry that I couldn't get this update. It's just I don't have the internet capability to update either one of these right now. Even if I did, I wouldn't be updating the Xbox One because I don't play it. So, you know, that's just unfortunate that it's like that, but let's just go ahead and take a look at the screen, though. You can see, obviously, is there's your battery percentage for your controller. The mic is muted. There's just the different games. None of these are installed except for Halo, which is why I thought it would work. Then you got, like, the time up there, which isn't correct, because why would it be? I haven't changed it in a long time, so... But that's just kind of low. That's just kind of like the normal screen. And there's your everything on this is very familiar to your to the Series X is very familiar. Like the settings, all these different settings and everything. The actual main settings, they're all relatively unchanged. All this stuff is unchanged pretty much for the Series X. Sorry about the wobbliness of the video, guys, and the quality. So. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the Xbox One. I'm sorry it's not coming out better on the camera. But let's just go ahead and turn this off. And that's it for the Xbox One. I mean, there's not too much difference. I will go into say that had this game worked, you would really, that's where the main difference lies, is in the graphics and frames per second and stuff along those lines. That's where the differences really lie. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, but yeah, the Series X, just before I turn that on, the waiting time, the loading time and everything on that is so much faster. I mean, you saw that the loading screen for the Series X just to turn on, or the Xbox One to turn on, was 50 seconds, okay? This one, I guarantee you will be less. It will be probably closer to like 30, okay? That's just, I mean, I know it's not like, it doesn't sound like that huge of a difference. It might not sound different to a lot of people, like, oh, what's 20 seconds, you know what I mean? But trust me, when you're playing games and you're loading new games and you put, like, I take Halo out, I put Red Dead Redemption 2 in, which is a fairly substantial sized game. It'll be almost instantaneous. It'll just pop right up and you can just click on it, it'll load. You hit continue or continue story, or even if you hit new story, whatever you want to do, it'll just connect right away. It'll hop on. You'll be able to hop on and start playing. By the time you go from your disc, putting the disc into the Xbox Series X and sitting down and getting the controller in your hand and getting ready, the game will be loaded. That's how fast it is. Whereas this one, you'll plug it in, you'll hook it all up, you'll put the disc in, and by the time the disc loads and the Xbox actually turns on, and by the time the disc loads, you could go cook yourself dinner. So, I mean, it's just the amount of time you save playing a Series X is substantial. Now, we're going to get to the part that everybody wants to know. Is the graphics and the frames per second as big of a difference as they say it is? Is it worth paying all the money for this Xbox Series X over the Xbox One? Especially a later model Xbox One, like the Xbox One X. Are the graphics on this good enough to beat out that and to justify spending the money on it? I'll be honest, I can't talk for the Xbox One X and the newer iterations of the Xbox One. I can't speak for those because I know they have slightly better graphics and slightly better frames per second than the Xbox One originally did. And I understand all that completely. So if you're like me and you had the original Xbox One, and for reasons like me where the Xbox One is starting to have slight problems, like it doesn't want to update anymore, it's having problems connecting to the internet, it's having problems with the disk drive, it was worth the money and worth me buying the Series X. It was just worth it to me because there's no problems, as opposed to this one, which, who knows, I might have been playing it up until now, it might not have even worked this long for the last 6 months, because it has had some problems after multiple years of ownership. So that being said, to me it was worth the money. But if you have an Xbox One that's in perfect shape, nothing wrong with it, and you can play it perfectly, it's all updated and everything, and you honestly don't have the money, or you do have the money but you're not sure, you're debating on it, there's a lack of games that are only for the Series X. Like every single game that I have, every single game is an Xbox One game. And they all work on the Series X because it's backwards compatibility. So all these games I have on the Xbox One, if this never had any problems, I would still be playing Xbox One. In all honesty, I'd still be playing it because I have all the games for it, but I physically couldn't play, so that's why I had to get that. But let's say this Xbox One was in perfect running order, and let's also say I took better care of it when I was younger, which I should have. And it was still working, I probably would never even got the Series X. Not now anyways. I probably would have waited till, a year later down the road and bought it when it was more available, instead of scouring the internet for it and trying to find one, finally finding this one, which I got very lucky with, by the way. So, yeah, that's just, if it were up to me, I would have kept this Xbox One a little bit longer to save the money, because I physically needed it, but if I didn't, and there was nothing wrong with it, I would have kept it, because the graphics-wise, and the frames per second is a huge upgrade, and the loading times and the power, it's a giant upgrade, don't get me wrong. If you do get it, and even if you just want it, it's worth it. I mean, it's worth getting if you enjoy the graphics and you enjoy how amazing it looks, then yeah, it's worth it. it's not going to be something where you look at the TV and you're like, oh my god, it's so different. Like, holy crap, I've never seen anything like it. It's not going to be like that. So don't get your hopes up that it's going to be some amazing thing when you look at this TV versus looking at it on the Xbox One. It's not going to be some mind-blowing thing where you're just going to be glued to it. It is a big difference. Like, you'll be able to tell how different it is. You'll look and you'll be like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's a lot faster. It's a lot nicer. It's a lot smoother. Everything runs smoother. It's the leaves, like when you have leaves versus like outside, it looks a lot more realistic. The water looks more realistic. Everything looks more realistic. And like Halo, for instance, like I play Halo 3 on the Xbox One. Halo 3, like, when they're moving their mouths and talking in the game, when you're watching the other characters talk, it just kind of, like, their mouths move up and down, up and down, up and down. It's like a skeleton, almost. Like, there's nothing. Like, there's no facial features or lip movement or anything like that. Whereas on the Series X, it's more defined. You can see their mouth, you can see the muscles in their mouth moving more. Even though it's still a very old game, back from, I believe, 2007 was Halo 3 came out. Even though it's still a very old game, the graphics on it have increased to the point where you can actually see their eyes moving more and all of that. So there is some big differences that make it worth the money. But my point is that if you don't have the money and you have an Xbox One and there's nothing wrong with it and you can play it perfectly fine, you don't really need to get the Series X just yet. I would wait, like a lot of people have said, I would wait until you get a lot more exclusives. Microsoft just bought Bethesda. I know I'm destroying that name. I'm sorry about that. Bethesda. It's the one that makes Fallout 4. Okay, everybody knows Fallout 4 just about if you play these game systems. So that being said, there's going to be some class exclusives for Xbox Series X that you're not going to be able to play on the Xbox One eventually. And when that time comes, if you want to save your money and then buy a Series X when they're going to be more available, then it will be worth it. But as of right now, if you have a collection like I do, I mean, you can see all the Xbox games I have in there. 90% of the games I have are Xbox Ones. The rest are Xbox 360s. So, that being said, the Xbox One, if you're like me, you have all Xbox One games, and your Xbox One works good, keep the Xbox One until you get more exclusive games for the Series X. Because, I mean, the graphics wise, it will look a lot better. It'll run better. Like I said, I don't mean to like sound like a broken record here, but honestly, if you had to choose and you had the money, you didn't mind, buy the Series X. Is a great choice. It really is. It's an amazing, amazing machine, and it's definitely worth not having all the extra trouble, the extra cords. The controller itself is leaps and bounds better, in my opinion. The graphics are substantially better. Everything is smoother. It loads so much faster. All that stuff combined makes it worth it to me. And plus the fact that, like I said, I had to have one because I didn't have the Xbox One, wasn't working properly. So that's pretty much my take on it. And that's just all my opinion. If you're somebody out there who's like, well, I don't care regardless of what whoever this guy says, I'm gonna buy a Series X even if I don't think it's worth it. If you, just you do you. If you think it's worth it, you want to buy one, you go right ahead. I'm not sitting here trying to make it sound like, yes, it's 100% worth it, or no, do not buy it. I'm just trying to give you my 2 cents so you can make more of an informed decision. So hopefully you'll watch this video, look at the differences, and, be able to be like, well, if it's not that big of a difference, if it's only, a couple of exclusive games for the Series X, I can wait or whatnot, it's just one of those things. So let me actually go ahead and fire the Xbox Series X up so we know how fast this one turns on. Oh, whoop. Nope, I didn't plug it in yet. My bad. I didn't plug the HD cord in. Alright, bear with me for 1 second. Let me just unplug that. Plug this in. I'm sorry about that. I want to be able to get this right the first time. Sorry, guys. There we go. Alright, now I'll plug this thing in. There we go. And now we will turn it on. So it should be coming on any second. It is plugged in correctly. So it should be. There we go. I just love that opening screen and the opening sound so much more than the Xbox One. How long did that take? I said, what, 30 seconds? That took maybe 8. I mean, how long did that take? Really, listen, I didn't even get a chance to look. That took like 8 seconds. I kid you not, that took not even 8 seconds. It took like 6 seconds. Now, let's see how long it takes the controller to connect. So that one took about 4 or 5 flashes before it connected to the Xbox console. Let's see about this one. 1, 2, 3. That one took about 4 or 5. That's just I did not realize it was that fast, to be perfectly honest, because I never actually shut this thing down and turned it on that much, so I never really noticed. Yeah, that took like 6 to 8 seconds. That took like 50 seconds. That's just kind of mind-blowing to me how fast that was. So let me just turn that on, let that load real quick, and there we are. And now we'll just put this game in. I believe this is the right direction, so you hear it spinning. A little bit you hear it spin. And then, at least this time it actually, you know, I mean, my camera just doesn't do it justice how amazing it looks on a TV. It really just doesn't do it justice. I wish I could show you guys how good it looks with your own eyes. The camera itself just doesn't do it justice. It really doesn't. I mean, it just looks amazing. And one other thing I want to mention before I turn this off is I mentioned this in the review for the Series X I did in my last video. When you take a game out of the system and you put it away, or you unplug the system and you move it somewhere else, and you take the disc and you put the disc back in and you put it into here, the load times are just so much faster. But the fact is that you can just go, well, not with this actually, my bad, that was kind of, you see, with this one, it didn't keep where it was saved at for some odd reason. Like, I can't just hit resume with this game for whatever reason. It's not for whatever reason. This game hasn't been updated yet, so it's not. So without the update, it won't let me just go back and resume. It needs these updates and all this other stuff that's kind of boring and not really worth talking about. But my point what I was gonna make is that when you move this and you take the disc out and you put it back in after you unplug it and everything, if the game is completely updated, like I've had Frozen Motorsports and Red Dead Redemption, I took the disc out, I put it into that one actually, and then I put it back into the Series X and plugged the Series X back in, turned it back on. It brought right back to where it was paused. So it was like, it went right back to, all I had to do was hit resume. And it like literally started right then and there. So I didn't have to wait for it to load the game, turn the game on and everything. It was resume, and then there you go. It was like all I had to do was unpause the game, even though I had that whole thing unplugged and everything, whereas the Xbox One does not do that. I know it sounds kind of confusing, and I'm sorry about that, but I've run into some technical difficulties today filming this video. So this game, for whatever reason, did not show that. So really the way it should have been is that I should have been able to put the disc in, and then it would have just popped up, and I would have hit unpause or resume, and I would have been playing the game right now, instead of having to go through, select the mission, and that I want to play, and all that stuff. But that's just how it is. For whatever reason, it didn't do that with this game. I think it's just because it's not updated, and the actual console needs to be updated, maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't connected to the internet in a while, but that's just my 2 cents. I know it's a long review comparison type video. I just hope that me talking about this, whoever decides to sit through this video and listen, like maybe you're a parent thinking about buying it for your child, or maybe you're buying it for yourself, or whatever the case may be. Hopefully my comparison helps you and you'll understand a little bit better if it's worth it or not. That's just me, in my opinion. So I hope you all have a great day. And if you do get one of these, I hope you enjoy it. If you don't get one of these and you keep the Xbox One, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I would still be playing this if it didn't break on me, pretty much. It's not completely broke. It's almost dead. So if it wasn't that case, I would still be playing that over the Series X. I wouldn't even have a Series X right now. But that's just me. That's just what would have been the case with my situation. If you have any questions or anything that you want to ask, I can answer. Or any opinions or anything you want to say in the comments, please leave the comments. And if you have any ideas for other videos I can do with this Series X or the Xbox One, I will update this and get this working properly if you all want videos of that as well. So if you have any requests or anything like that, just let me know in the comments. I will be sure to respond. I respond to everybody's comments, so if you have anything you want to say, I will be sure to check those out. Thank you, and like I said, have a great day.